Well, hello fishing friends, and if you're new here, welcome! So on today's video, we're going to be going to S6 to catch the epics there. We're going to be catching these Christmas Wrasse, I guess that's how you would say it, and the black triggerfish. Alright, let's go ahead and head out there and do some catching. Okay, so here we are in S6, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring up the Fishopedia here and kind of go through what we're going to do. So the Christmas Wrasse likes the krill, and it is a topwater fish. Remember that, it's a topwater fish. The black triggerfish also likes the krill and the minnow, and is a bottom dwelling fish, and both of them are also in the middle depth. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use the krill to catch both of them, because they both like it. Might as well use it to try to catch both of them at the same time. We're going to target the triggerfish first, and the reason I say that is we're going to go after bubbles to catch the triggerfish. Now I have caught more of these Christmas Wrasse on bubbles than the triggerfish here recently. The other night I was fishing around, and I think I caught 5 of them on bubbles as opposed to like 3 of the triggerfish. So that's why we're going to target the bubbles first. There's a good chance we're going to catch this Christmas Wrasse. Now another way to find this is to look for the very tiny swirls. So they make a really tiny swirl. So if you reset, and you have to watch really fast because they show up and then they disappear right away. So look at that, I'm already on the krill. Alright, so I'm on the krill, and when we're targeting the swirls, we are going to go ahead and bring the line all the way up to the top. And when we're targeting the bubbles, we're going to drop it down all the way to the bottom by pressing the thumbstick down and pressing it up to bring it up to the top. Now you can see these swirls out here. Those are way too big for the Christmas Wrasse. And so what you do to reset that is you switch to hard, back to expert, and you wait, and you look to see if any swirls come up. So there's a swirl that's too big. That one, probably too big. It's actually pretty close. Still looks like it might be a little too big. You know what, I'll cast over to it just for fun. Oh. Let me switch back to single-handed here. There we go. Alright, I'm going to cast out to that one just for fun. I'm pretty sure that is not it. But, yeah, see, it didn't bite right away. If it would have been the Christmas Wrasse. Oh, let me bring it up to the top. Now let's try it. Oh, it bit right away. That might be it, actually. It looked like it was too big of a swirl, though, but we'll give it a go. They should be really tiny swirls. Yeah, and that splash was too big. I'm going to let it go. Yeah. Alright, to let it go, you just pull the thumbstick back. I'm going to go ahead and reset again so that we can get some bubbles or swirls out there. Look around. There's a swirl. That one was a pretty small swirl. I still think it was too big, though. Yeah, I think that's too big of a swirl. Let's wait for some bubbles to come up. If you don't see any bubbles, I'm not even going to go after that swirl because I know that's not it. It was way too big of a swirl. Don't see any bubbles, and all the swirls disappeared. So I'm just going to reset again. And this is all I'm going to do. It's just, okay, so there was a very small swirl that came up and went away. About right there. Let's see if it starts to turn red right away. And it doesn't. So, alright. There are some bubbles out there, so I'm going to drop it down to the bottom. And cast to those bubbles. Bring it up to the bubbles. And let's see, it turned red. And that was a good splash. Hopefully we don't get a shark on here. Okay, so we don't have a shark. That's good. Alright, so there's our first one. The triggerfish. And we'll go ahead and let him go. Alright, so we got the triggerfish on there. We didn't catch the Christmas race on bubbles, but like I said, you can catch them on bubbles. Even though it is a topwater fish, I've caught many of them on bubbles. So I'm going to reset again. That was too big. There's the whale. Go ahead and reset again. We're looking for a really tiny swirl. Like I said, they'll show up and go away really quickly. There's one out there. About that area. And it didn't bite right away. Gonna reset again. Oh, right there. See how small that was? Just a tiny little swirl. Let me bring it up here. Just a tiny swirl. Not very big at all. And that was too big of a splash though. If it swims, yeah, it's not going to be it because it won't swim. So there are a couple of fish that will make that tiny swirl. And they're the smaller fish. So, yeah, scorpion fish. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and reset again. Looking for a tiny swirl. Don't see any swirls. And this happens sometimes on this map. Sometimes you don't see any swirls at all. Finally seen some bubbles out there. You probably can't see them in the video, but there are some bubbles way out there. That was a pretty small swirl. Although it got bigger. It's probably not it. And it didn't bite right away. So yeah, I'm going to bring it back. I'm just going to keep resetting until I find a small swirl. Too big. Too big. There's a small one. Barely can see it. Oops. You might not even be able to see it on the video. But it was just a tiny little swirl. But that's too big of a splash. That's not going to be it. That might have been the other fish that came and grabbed it. Let me see if I can get... If I can see that tiny swirl out there. Okay, good. That big swirl went away. The tiny one went for it. That's it right there. See that little bitty splash? It's not going to give any effort reeling it in. It's not going to swim anywhere. And there's the Christmas race. So there you go. Use the krill. Look for tiny little swirls to get the Christmas race. And for the black triggerfish, aim for those bubbles. And you shouldn't have any troubles catching these two fish. Hopefully this video helped you catch these epics. And if it did, make sure and give me a thumbs up on this one and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye-bye.